Let's go. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, confident speaking community, no matter where you are in the world. I hope that you're ready to go today. I'm excited. And as I was listening to the music just now, it reminded me of Mama B when she said she told her family that she was living with that she knew how to play an instrument and she found herself in the marching band. But that was a funny moment for me just thinking about that. Mama B, so thank you for that memory, something that I always have I can hold on to. Just imagining this young child saying, I can do something, didn't really know how to do it, but put themselves in a position and figured it out on the fly, and she made it work. So welcome everyone again. I hope you're ready to go, and let's get into this conversation today. And what we're going to do, I was thinking as I was sitting here pondering a few minutes ago, I think we're going to call this the skills lab today. And we're going to be more intentional about the actual exercises, the practice that we do. We've had some great conversation the past several weeks. And I want us to get into today where we actually are doing some of the skills applications, where we're actually applying the things that we discuss. So we're going to do some challenges today. We're going to do some script reading to really hone in on the 4 Ps. We're going to do some random topic challenges. And I myself am going to kick us off with a challenge. I'm going to do a challenge. And I want you all to be thinking about this. Any of the speakers, you can come up with a challenge that you would like for me to do. And it can be a random topic challenge. And I want to stretch myself even more where you can give me a topic and I'll do a little micro presentation about that topic for a few minutes, just about whatever topic it is that you give me. And this is just me stretching myself because I don't know what your topic is going to be. And this is practice. And this is how we prepare ourselves so that no matter what situation we're in, we feel comfortable dealing with it because we put ourselves in these uncomfortable moments to practice, to help our brains understand how to manage the stress, how to manage the discomfort, how to manage the fear that you may have in those moments where you don't know what to expect. But when we are intentional like this, it doesn't matter because if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And we get ready by doing this kind of work that we're going to do today. So I want to say hello to Donika. How are you today, Donika?
Good morning, team. Happy Saturday. Hello, Brenda. Hello, everyone. I am doing okay. Still a little bit with that cough. I have like a week, then it's like hurting me to talk. But I'm here and I want to practice too, to be part of that skill lab because as a science teacher, everything that I teach during the week, kids look forward to do the lab because it's the collection of everything then we learn and we practice, and it's so good because they communicate what they learn, they interact with each other, they see how much they learn, and if they mess up they have a nice laughter, but they have to clean up after themselves, with a smile in their face. So let's challenge each other and see what we learn from team spaces through these past weeks. So I am here and I am excited.
Yes. And it's, growing up when I was in high school, my friends and I, there were 4 of us, and we called ourselves the 4 Horsemen. Back then, we were into wrestling at one point, but we called ourselves the 4 Horsemen. And no matter what it is that we did, we always challenged one another to make sure that if we showed up, we were going to be the best that showed up, no matter what it was. We had each other's back and we challenged one another to always strive and be the best that we could, no matter what we did. And my parents taught me the same thing, but it's different when your friends are there to push you, to make you think differently, to think on a higher level. And that's what I want for us here in this community, to continue to do that, to challenge one another to be better. If I do something that seems out of line, let me know so I can try to fix it and provide understanding or clarity if necessary, because it's probably a misunderstanding, something that you may not have understood about what I said. And remember, sometimes we know in our heads what we're thinking, but that isn't always what people hear. So I'm just as accountable. I'm trying to hold myself just as accountable as everyone else, as we're all trying to grow together. And this is how we get better, because that can be such a struggle in relationships when people feel like no one can tell them or offer input as to how they can improve and be better. And that's what we're doing here. But Brenda, how are you today? Great to see you.
I can't share, excuse me, but I cannot complain. Good morning to everyone. It's morning my way. Thank you for the honor, Tim. Hello, Danica. And good morning to the room.
Yes, yes. Welcome, welcome, and thank you, thank you. And before we get into the challenges, there's something that I want to share with everyone. And this is a side note, but it's an important one, I think. And I want you to keep in mind that we come to know people. We establish relationships and we have interactions with individuals and people that we may find or develop a level of trust and confidence in. Because my motto is I trust people. Well, I have confidence in people, in some people, but I trust God. But the reason I'm saying this is I want to make sure that everyone has this in mind. You know, in the crypto world or in the investing world, in a lot of things where you're going to spend your time, people often say, do your own research. Do your own research. And that means take time to understand what you're dealing with and who you're dealing with before you deal with them too deeply. And because I always tell you, I remind you that people will follow you. They will go places that you go. And if you say something as a leader, as someone that has a platform that people come to hear the things that you say, be mindful that they will follow along with what it is that you say. They tend to believe you and they tend to follow where you go. But what I want to share with all of you and those listening on the replay is to make sure that even if you trust me, I'm going to use myself as an example. Make sure that if you decide to go along with a potential recommendation as far as interacting with someone, make sure you still do your own research. And they use the acronym DYOR. So the acronym that I want to give you, in addition to the DYOR of doing your own research, is BYOR. And that's build your own relationship. Make sure that you build your own relationship, because I may be able to have an interaction with someone and they may treat me completely differently than they treat you. And I don't want you to feel like I put you in a bad position. And I don't want you to put yourself in a bad position because you don't take time to observe intently to understand who this individual is, because people will treat certain people differently. Everyone doesn't always get treated the same, unfortunately. And I'm just wanting to point this out because I know that things happen and people build relationships on this platform in other areas of life. But I want to make sure that you have in mind the importance of building your own relationship, because it may not be the same with everyone that you deal with. So that's just a side note, public service announcement to keep in mind, because we can't blame anyone else for what they did or any recommendation they made if we didn't take time to build our own relationship and do our own research. Trust but verify. That's my thing. No matter what anyone tells me, no matter who it is, if you tell me something, I need to be able to go see it for myself in order to feel comfortable enough to share that information and pass it along. I need to know. I'm going to have confidence in you, but I still need to see it, because you could have misunderstood what you read or what you heard. No bad intentions. It wasn't even a lie that someone may have said. It may have been a misunderstanding or misinterpretation. So I want everyone to keep that in mind as we think about being more confident and effective communicators, because that's part of it. Your credibility is now on the line if you go to someone passing along information that you heard but didn't verify on some level, or if you get into a bad situation dealing with someone because you simply believed what someone else said without taking time to understand for yourself. Because the other aspect of that is the person that you were connected with may not be a bad person, but they may not be the right person for you. Nothing bad about it. It may not be anything malicious at all. It just may be that they aren't the right person for you. Because some people can be a little rough around the edges in the way they interact with people, and you may be in a more fragile state, and you need someone that's more empathetic, more patient, more gentle in their approach. So just keep that in mind. Do your own research, build your own relationship. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get this kicked off. To our new listeners, I say welcome and thank you for joining today's Confident Speaking Space. Our mission: to help you become a more confident and effective communicator to transform the way you live, work, and play. We have 4 pillars to help you do that. 1, the 4 P's, which are pitch, pace, power, and pause, to speak more dynamically. 2, conciseness, which helps you sound more organized and thoughtful when speaking. 3, get comfortable being uncomfortable, so you never miss an opportunity because you're too afraid to try. And 4, expand your comfort zone with intentional behaviors to develop new skills that will change your life. So be brave and request the mic. I invite you to simply introduce yourself, ask a question, or perhaps share your thoughts about the topic. Our goal is progress, not perfection, and we will support you every step of the way. If you want to stay connected, join our free community on X or visit our website at confidentspeaking.us. confidentspeaking.us, and subscribe to join private discussions for more personal support and additional resources. I hope to speak with you soon. Enjoy the show. All right. So I want to go ahead and open it up now. I'm ready. I'm ready to jump in and do my challenge. And a reminder, just in case you didn't see the post, I pinned at the top a video clip so that you're able to, for those of you who want to do the random topic challenge today, there's a little video clip that explains how the random topic challenge works. It's there so that we can save time. We're trying to be more efficient here in the space. So the video clip is going to explain how the random topic challenge works, so that when you come up to do it, you already know what to expect. And we can give you a topic and you'll be ready to do it. And I want to say to those of you that are listening, even if you don't do the challenge, you can still come up and share feedback. Feedback is training. That's practice as well, because we don't all understand how to give feedback. That's part of our development as well, because your feedback may be slightly different from someone else's, and it can be uncomfortable at times having a different opinion from someone else in front of a group of people. So all of this is practice. Everything we do in here has a purpose. And I want you to get involved and not be afraid to come up and be a part of what we're doing, because we're all growing together. So I will kick this off. Brenda, I see your hand. You have a topic for me?
I do.
Okay.
I just took a sip of it. It's so delicious. And I'm very, very fond of it. How do you feel about orange juice, Tim? Do you think it's good, bad?
Well, let me see. Okay. So as far as, well, I'm going to talk about orange juice then. So I'm going to use orange juice as the topic. Orange juice. I think most of us, or a lot of us, probably grew up as children drinking orange juice. We've heard how nutritious it is for us and that it allows us to be healthier in our lives. And vitamin C is the big selling point of orange juice. One thing that I will mention to you to be aware of, for those of you who really enjoy orange juice, because I enjoy it, but I can't drink it the way that I used to. My body has changed and it now gives me heartburn. So I'm affected by it adversely. But I want you to be aware of this for the orange juice lovers out there. Understand that when you go to the store, think about this. You have your favorite brand of orange juice, and every time you buy it, it tastes exactly the same. Think about that. How is it possible that every orange tastes exactly the same? They don't. So read the label and pay attention to what it's saying. There's some that say orange juice, and then there's some that say beverage, not necessarily juice. And this ties into us being confident and effective communicators, because it isn't just about what we say, it's about our ability to observe and recognize what's going on in our environment. When it says beverage, that's telling you that this is not pure orange juice. Something has happened to this product that takes away the ability for them to say that it's orange juice. And be mindful of that, because that can affect what you feel like you're getting from orange juice. But we know that for our health and well-being, orange juice is good. So try to find quality, fresh squeezed orange juice. And I know there's a grocery chain here where I live called Kroger in our area. I think it's in the Southeast maybe. And every time I buy their juice, the Kroger brand actually, it tastes slightly different because the oranges are different. They're harvested at different times, and there's going to be different flavors. They come from different environments, just like people. So we want to be attentive. I speak about intentional observation very regularly because it's so important in every aspect of our lives. And I want us to keep that in mind. So just think about orange juice and how you consume it. Understand how it may affect your body while it's intended to be healthy for you. And it is a very delicious drink when the oranges are sweet that produce it. But just pay attention to how you're affected by it, because I had to learn as I intentionally observe even my body as I drank orange juice to recognize that it began to affect me at a certain point in my life, because I could drink a half gallon of orange juice in 2 days like it was nothing. But now if I drink 2 cups, I feel like my chest is on fire. So be aware of those changes. But orange juice, I think it's a fantastic drink. It can be a healthy delight, especially when it's cold and chilled, and drop a little bit of pineapple juice in there with it. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. So that's what I would say about orange juice today. So keep that in mind. Be healthy, drink your juice, get your vitamin C so that you don't get sick or minimize catching colds, because they can be so prevalent. Brenda, go ahead.
Oh my gosh, Tim, you gave us a lot of information. This is very personal to you. My word, orange juice has really affected your life. But anyways, I love it. You stay ready, and that's not fair. But good presentation about the orange juice. And I don't know, did you go over 2 minutes? Because I didn't time you. But I thought it was great, Tim. Good job.
Well,
and I drink Kroger, by the way.
there you go. There you go. And you can tell the difference in the flavor from container to container. The juice tastes differently. And that's when you know it's more than likely coming from actual oranges and not some concoction that they've made to create a repeatable flavor. If it tastes the same every time, like Simply Delight, and I'm not going to just call a bunch of names, but there are some, they taste the exact same way every single time. And think about that. How is that possible? Go ahead, Donika.
Oh, this is nice topic. Thank you for the question, Brenda. I cannot drink orange juice. It causes me burning and I can't touch it, but I can eat oranges. So, and tangerine, mandarin, and nothing happened with that. What's the difference? They're all oranges, but I can tolerate the liquid. But if I can eat one orange, it doesn't give me stomachache.
Yeah, and that's the intentional observation where you pay attention and recognize what's happening to you. Now, what I will say though, so Brenda, yes, I did go over a minute or 2 minutes, because my goal there was to do a bit of a micro presentation about a topic that could be informative. So that was my bad for not communicating that as clearly as I could have, so that you will understand what I wanted to be able to do. So I could have given some types of topics, for example, to be able to understand what I was trying to do. But for everyone else, what we'll do with the 60-second random topic challenge is there will be 60 seconds. And again, the video is at the top. That way you can listen to that really quickly and understand how that flows. If you want to ask a question, you're welcome to ask a question as well. So we're always here to answer questions that any of you may have about communication. That's our goal, is to become more confident and effective communicators. So you're more than welcome to ask a question about communication if you aren't quite ready to do the challenge yet. So I see Nino's hand. Nino, are you ready to do the challenge today?
I don't even know what I'm getting myself into, but yes, Tim, first of all, thank you for creating this space here. And there's so many familiar faces here. And I actually wanted to get on break earlier so I can come in here, send you flower, and sending love to the community. But yeah, whatever you want to ask me, the challenge, I'm game.
Well, so it sounds like you may not have seen the video yet. So
I have not. So just throw me in the fire.
Well, what I want to do is I want to establish the habit so everyone recognizes the video at the top. So I'm trying to create this process, and it's about 40 seconds, and it explains how the random topic challenge works. So I want to make sure that people know that's there so they can take a look at it.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it now, and just whoever's ready, they can go before me.
Okay, there we go. And great to see you as well, sir. So Grace, I see your hand. So have you seen the video and you ready to do a challenge?
I'm ready, not ready. I want to give you a challenge afterwards, but I'm ready. I got to do this. We got to jump in the ice.
There we go. There we go.
Just first want to thank you and tell everybody to repost this space and great spaces like this where there's encouragement. The world needs encouragement, and we need to speak up for the things that matter most for us. So absolutely. Brenda and Donica, cheer me on because I need it.
Hey, we're all cheering you on, Grace. Know that. And you'll see once you start getting feedback. So Grace, well, let me ask this first. You want to do a random topic challenge, or do you want to read one of the scripts?
Oh, I didn't see the script. I saw the random topic, the 60 seconds. That is why I'm here, to be concise. Gotcha. That's my biggest challenge.
There we go. There we go. So random topic challenge it is. So your random topic, Grace, is going to be premium.
Premium. Well, premium to me means quality. You know, there's good choices in life, there's better choices, and then there's premium. And it really can make a difference. Really can make a difference. So that is a very important topic to me since I was little, because I want to make the best choice with my life. I walked with a very wise dad and learned a lot with walking with wise people. And if you look over our life, whether this is our last day or our last month, we want to make the best choices. So premium is the word. I want to be that kind of person of excellence that takes chances like this and jumps in and makes a difference by being a quality person, by growing and learning, improving, and inviting other people to be premium. So I hope when you think of me, I'm striving to be premium. I love you. Let's be premium in love.
Love it. Love it. With time to spare. Look at that. Excellent, Grace. So I want to begin with you, Grace. What do you think about that? How do you feel about your response to that challenge?
I felt pretty good because I got up, I did my ice, I did my breathing, I had good faces to look at, and I've been working at this very hard, and it's easier in spaces like this. I don't feel like I'm doing it so well in other spaces, but that's why we're here, to grow and to go. So let's grow and invite some friends. I'm excited because I met somebody who's learning the language, and you know, it's such a hard language, and we want to be the best friend and try to find what the person needs and how we can help them get there. So there's somebody new in this space that we'd really like to learn about relationships, and so it's communication. So I want to welcome the person knows who it is, and go repost and befriend somebody and be that premium friend, even if it's just for a moment, that smile, that make a difference. We might change a life. We might save a life. We might save a wife.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I want to ask you a question really quickly. And this is another opportunity for conciseness work. Why do you feel you're more concise in this space than others? What do you think is different here versus other spaces?
Well, I actually do take my timer in other spaces, but I don't always remember to put it on. And just that it's intentional. It's like, that's why I'm here, and I have to remember that everywhere I go, that I want to be concise. It's just being mindful and aware and practicing, just getting into a new habit. It's going to take a while, and I have to be gentle myself when I'm like, oh, there I go again, just lost in space, and someone didn't ring a bell or breathe or give me some motions.
Got you. And I love that you gave that as your response. In most cases, that's what it boils down to in this space, because I try to stress the fact that we're being intentional about what it is we're doing. So we think about it. And when we go other places, we have to do the same. This also points to the importance of us, all of us as leaders in our environments. We have to be able and comfortable setting the standard for what it is we're trying to do, be comfortable with it, and actually do it, and trust that the people that are following you, the people that are looking to you for guidance, will rise to the standard that you set. And as hosts, because I understand the discomfort level, how uneasy it can be to ask people to end their thoughts and their comments if they've gone on a little longer than they probably should or needed to in those moments. But this kind of brings up the idea, Grace, for all of us to be mindful at how, as leaders, the importance of setting the standard and sticking to it and holding everyone accountable, not just the followers, but ourselves as the leader, being accountable for what the expectations are, but also as the ones that are trying to grow, because we are all trying to become more confident and effective communicators. So if we do it here, we need to carry that same mindset with us to other places and not allow what other people are doing. Because if other people say it's okay to be relaxed, that's what we tend to do. But that isn't what we're trying to accomplish. So we have to have the discipline for ourselves to do what we know we're trying to do, regardless of what people around us may be doing when it doesn't line up with what we're trying to accomplish. So I just wanted to make that note so that all of us recognized, based on what you said, how we can grow from that thought you made, because I really appreciate that you recognize it and you owned up to what it is and why that's happening. And that's where the change and transformation takes place. It begins when we're able and willing to acknowledge that there's opportunity and where the change can actually happen. So thank you for that, Grace. Brenda,
And
go.
I want to thank you. Because of you, I mean, I've had a lot of people ask me to co-host and even host shows, and I just feel like learning. Sometimes you just have to get in before you're ready. So I've been co-hosting. Someone needed a co-host, and it's a live show. And just I want to appreciate you, because everybody in here, we're just one connection away from new beginnings and new opportunities. And I'm working on something very exciting for people to meet off X. And it's really exciting. So DM me if you're interested. I love you.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Brenda, I see your hand, and then we'll go to Phantom after that. You have some feedback for Grace you want to share? Brenda, you're muted if you're speaking.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you said that. Oh my word, I had the hands going and everything. Okay, Grace, you don't need to come off your mic again. It's okay. But I love you sincerely, and I love that you recognize what's going on. So that tells me you know. So, and we're kind of all like that. We know what to do. We know what to do. We know when we're ignoring things as well. So let's be good people as we claim to be, and let's just try to listen to our conscience. And you guys, I'm totally talking to myself when I say this.
Thank you, Brenda. Thank you. Thank you. So, Phantom, I see your hand. You want to give some feedback to Grace?
No, Tim. I will be taking up a challenge.
Okay. Okay. So, Donika, is your hand up for feedback? And then I'll share some after you if that's what you're wanting to do.
Yes, since Grace wanted us to cheer her up, and I'm cheering you up by giving feedback, I was impressed how good you used the time and the message behind what you share, because it was about you, was about us, was about togetherness, how to be concise, how to deliver and to be thoughtful, and was beautiful message. I know that you always um, have like a very heartfelt message, but today your intention was in point. You asked for help too, to send you some heart and to cheer you up, but you did it yourself, and we are behind you cheering for you, because that was a teachable moment. Thank you.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And I love your pace, Grace, the way you paced it, because sometimes I can hear the excitement when you're sharing some things, because you're aware of the time and you're trying to share as much as you feel like you need to share within a reasonable amount of time. But with that particular challenge, as Donika said, I love the message behind what you shared. And to take a word like premium, because I almost said, let me give you a different word. But I had confidence in you that you could do it, and you nailed it. To take an abstract word like premium and do what you did with it is phenomenal. And that's what we have the ability to do, but we have to put ourselves in position to actually do it. Because there are going to be times you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to be asked of you, what's going to be needed of you. And we're training our brains to understand how to process the moment and figure out how to identify the best course of action without panicking and without losing our minds. Because when you panic, then you lose the ability to think and process. Now your brain is focused on running. It's in that fight or flight mode, but you settle down and allow it to understand, here's the information you have. And this also goes to why it's important that we continue to grow, continue to educate ourselves and just gain knowledge. Even if it's outside the scope of what you do as your area of expertise, just having an extensive knowledge base makes it easier for you to participate in different conversations. It makes it easier for you to be willing to accept a random topic challenge because you've informed yourself. Because it's difficult to pull from a store of information that you don't have. But if it's there and we don't allow fear to create a wall in our heads, then our brain has the ability to go in and figure out, okay, where's this information? Oh, this was 20 years ago, but it's still here. Let me go grab that, because it's organized in your mind. So thank you, Grace. I appreciate that. Great job. Great job. So I just love everything about it. It was an excellent job of what you did. So Nino, I see your hand. So you ready, sir?
I'll be as ready as I can be.
There we go. All right. So the random topic for you, Nino, is empty space. Empty space.
Empty space to me is a void, and that could be your inner peace. The empty space could also be filled with positive spaces. Sometimes with that void, you can get lost, but I also believe, educating yourself what that empty space is, that you can replenish it with other good things in there. Also, experiencing when it comes to relationships. But I could also think that it could also be filled with positive things again, and just staying on track. And for me, it's really surrounding yourself with the positive people if you're missing or with that void. Thank you again, Tim.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to begin with you. How do you feel about the response? What's your take on it?
You know what? Because I'm filled with a lot of inner peace, and I don't really have the void. So I was struggling finding examples of the voids because I've been doing the work to fill the void, right? The empty space that my life is full. This is why I work at a wellness center. So maybe what I could have done a little bit better is seeing other people that are having empty spaces and what I can do to fill in that void. So maybe that's the direction I probably would have went through the second time around.
Great point. And what I would say, what would have potentially allowed you to do that even then, is if you had given yourself a moment to ponder it for a second. Because as soon as I gave you the topic, you jumped right into it. And that's okay. You handled it, you managed it. But if you had taken a moment or two, and this is for everyone, keep this in mind. When you're in situations where people ask you questions, don't feel like you have to immediately respond. Take a moment to ponder, to process. Even if you need to say, you know what, thank you for the question, or that's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment. And people will respect that because you're demonstrating thoughtfulness. You're demonstrating the fact that you're taking what they have said to you or what they're asking of you seriously, and that you aren't just running to immediately give them something. Some people can do that. And if you float that way, then that works, because we've had some people in the space here that say their mind, they need to just get into it and they build the plane while they're flying it, which ultimately that's what everyone is doing with this random topic challenge. But some people can build a little faster than others. And that's where knowing yourself, how your brain works and how you process information, understanding, do you need to take a moment? But if you keep in mind other people, as you said, Nino, because you are navigating the idea of the empty space. So use it as a moment to say, okay, how can I help someone else with this? How can I share my journey of dealing with the empty space that I've experienced in my life? And 10 seconds, 15 seconds can give your brain the opportunity to figure out that this is the way to go, because there's 25, 30, however many people in here listening right now. That's how I can use this moment. Go ahead, Nino.
No, that's a great example. What you just said. For me, like when you ask that question, right, it doesn't have to be from your perspective. It could be from somebody else's. And that's how you can create another story. The story doesn't always have to be about you. The story could be about a certain situation or maybe a certain person. So thank you for the feedback, Tim. Once again, great practices and, with everything that we're doing here. And also, I want to just say real quick to anyone that's in here that has the fear of public speaking. I know this is someone that Tim, always talks about, but also for someone like me, coming from a different country and not having English as my first, language, I always struggled because I would get bullied or laughed at because I sounded different, I looked different. If this is the first time you're in here and you have that fear of public speaking, it's okay to just get on the mic and just give praise. Like, Tim, thank you. And what it is, it's a building block, right? You don't have to get on the mic and stay on there for a minute. You could literally be on the mic for like 10 seconds. So this way you get the fear, like it's okay to have that fear, but just, conquering it. That's all I wanted to say, Tim. But once again, thank you for the floor.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nino. And yes, as Nino said, everyone is welcome to speak. And especially for those of you who don't speak English as your native language, if you're new to the space and the community, I definitely want you to understand you don't need to be afraid to speak here. Our goal is progress, not perfection. So we don't expect you to be perfect in the way you speak English. I'm not perfect in the way I speak English. You will hear me sometimes where I just create a new word because my brain is trying to turn one word into another word because it's thinking about two different things at the same time. And those things happen to all of us. So don't be afraid of that. And even if you aren't ready to speak yet, and being a speaker, just seeing the word speaker under your name is your first step, we're okay with that. So don't be afraid to come up and just be a speaker, even if you don't speak just yet. But remember, progress, not perfection. And I want to make sure also we get some people up here that are willing to give feedback. So those of you that are here now, I invite you and I ask that some of you share some feedback as well, because this is part of the not only practice for you, but it's also the additional encouragement for the people who actually do the challenges. And it also allows them to understand how what they say comes across differently to different people. Because when you're speaking to people, we have to remember that everyone doesn't hear the same thing, and they don't always hear what we're saying the way that we intended. So there's a lot that goes on in this activity, and everyone can benefit in different ways. So I want to ask that some of you, and we'll probably try to do maybe 3 people that will give feedback so we can keep going to the next people and give as many an opportunity as possible to do the challenges. So I see that we've got Phantom, Poppy, and then Amber. So Phantom, you ready for a challenge, sir?
Yeah, before that, Tim, I wanted to actually give feedback to Nino.
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things, and also this is a feedback to the space as well. Like, we need some symbol so that we know we are standing up to take a challenge, but also want to give feedback to another speaker. So maybe, we need some other kind of emoji or emote to like signal that, so that like I don't lose my hand also, like my turn or something like that. But overall, Nino, I think Tim already like caught on to the fact that you jumped in right after the challenge was announced. So throughout your 60 seconds, I think there were like 2-3 directions where your mind was going, and you were able to kind of converge it on the idea of filling up that empty void with positive space. And I think that is your experience and that is the truth you were speaking to. But I think the way the challenge works is you can only start the 60 seconds once you start responding. So if you can take the time to just think, that 60 seconds can be much better utilized to convey in a more concise manner, but also in a more elaborate manner, exactly what you wanted to say, right? So you could have taken maybe 10 seconds, 15 seconds to think, and I think it would have been much more powerful for you to just put out your message and put your thoughts together, because I think you did a good job of putting your thoughts together during, but I could clearly see there were like 2-3 parallels that were running in your head. And I heard your feedback to Tim, like, you have a different experience of what the empty void is. And so you kind of struggle to associate that. So I totally get it. But yeah, I think it's very important. And I think even Tim iterated on this, saying,
No,
take
I
time
really
to ponder.
appreciate that. Yeah, because like I said, because I don't really have that the empty space in the void, I was trying to figure out where to get that. And it doesn't have to come from me. It could be situations, and it could also be getting a point of view from other people where I see the empty space. So I've learned so much today, and thank you for the feedback. And I appreciate you.
Absolutely. And what we can do, Phantom, to your point about having an additional emoji, is I can, let's see, when I ask if anyone else has feedback, if no one says anything, then just jump in if I'm asking for feedback if no one has said anything, because I know typically Donika and Brenda will raise their hand and I'll recognize when some hands go up. And what you can do, if your hand is already raised, we'll do this. If your hand is already raised and I ask if anyone has feedback, you can use the hand clap emoji, the one that's on the left side. And that, yes, exactly, that's the one. So if your hand is already raised to do a challenge and you want to give feedback, then the hand clap will let me know. And I just saw that Najboon, is that correct?
Yes, Tim. Hi, greetings, everyone.
Yes, and I saw the hand clap. Was that for feedback?
Yes.
Okay.
May I take 1 minute to speak?
So what I want to do is if this is about feedback for Nino, then yes, you can share some feedback. But then if it's something else, then I'll put you in line on the list because we have some other hands that were already up. But if this is feedback for Nino, then yes.
Yes, it's for Nino.
Okay,
And
okay.
thank you so much. And first, greetings to everyone. Poppy, hello. Phantom, Nino, and Tim. You remember last time I was waiting. I wanted to speak. So just to cut it short, Nino, I don't have any area of improvement for you, but I have heard you multiple times in Professor Hitzlab spaces, in Nida spaces, and I think that you already great, and you already sound very confident, and just be consistent with what you're doing, because I trust me when I heard you speaking with Dr. Roshanak, I heard you speaking with Professor Hitzlab in multiple spaces, and you do come across very confident. So that's I wanted to add it. Thank you, Tim.
I
Absolutely.
appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And that's part of what we do. It's the encouragement as well. Because sometimes we don't see what other people see in us at times. And this allows us to get that feedback to realize that people see greatness in us that we don't always recognize in ourselves. And I need all of you to understand that about yourself. That's part of becoming a more confident and effective communicator in your life, is having the ability to believe in yourself enough to know that the things you have to offer can be valuable and that you can do it in an effective and impactful way as well. So thank you, Najban, for sharing that with Nino. So let's go now over to, let's see here. So, Phantom. Yes, Phantom, you didn't get to do your challenge yet. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and go to Phantom. After Phantom is going to be Poppy, Amber, Nitesh, and then AI after that. All right, so Phantom, are you ready, sir? All right. So your random topic is going to be, Phantom, is going to be sunshine. Sunshine.
Yeah, I think sunshine is such a wonderful term because it depicts the life giving energy, right? I think we all wake up and we are governed by this star that is nearby that we call the sun. And when the sun shines on us, we feel the warmth, we feel the energy, and it is so powerful that even though it is so far away, it is able to give so much of its energy to us. And I think, at least in our culture, we tend to even worship it, right? So I think sunshine is a very powerful entity, and we tend to, look at it with reverence.
All right. All right. Sunshine. Sunshine. So what's your thoughts? How do you feel about it?
It could have gone better. I was trying to piece it together, but yeah, I think I got to my point a little too late. Maybe I could have gotten in maybe one or two more sentences about it.
Got you. Got you. Okay. And or maybe not have built it up as much in the beginning potentially. And that's where some of the options come in. And for everyone, keep in mind that you have the ability to decide what gets shared in those moments. When you have the microphone, you're the person in charge essentially at that moment. So you determine what people are going to get from you. And I haven't mentioned this in a while, but know that you give people what you have to offer, not what you think they want. Don't try to give them what you think they want to hear. You give them what you have. Because when you get caught up in the idea or the mindset of trying to give the response you think people want to hear, you're going to trip yourself up. That becomes very tricky because you're trying to read someone's mind. And if there's two people, that means you're trying to read two people's mind at the same time, which we can't read one person's mind. So don't try to read people's mind and respond based on what you think they want to hear. Respond based on what you have to offer. And when you do that, there's a deeper connection that the listeners are able to feel from you because it's coming from your heart. It's coming from deep within. And that's the biggest and most important part of our communication with people is the connection. Because you'll notice that I'm not trying to get everyone to be these eloquent, super dynamic speakers and presenters. I want you to be confident and effective communicators. And the most important aspect in my mind that I will go to my grave with is the connection. Because you can connect without being that dynamic, over the top presenter. It doesn't take that all the time. So the connection. So thank you for that. So let's go. I saw Donika's hand, and then I saw Poppy wanted to give feedback as well. Donika, go ahead.
Yes, Phantom, thank you so much for doing the challenging. And what I observe is your breathing. You took a deep breath in the beginning and you walked through that unknowing because you didn't know what Tim has to say. And after you got the word, the power of sunshine, it is so beautiful because your pace was the same. Even though then you were thinking and the beginning wasn't as strong as after you took that deep breath. But what I like, you share like the power of the sun, the energy, then we get the sun, everybody, and the effect of that, how important is. You brought the culture, how different culture ownership the sun. You brought the science because why it's so important that sunshine and how we affect us. And I love what Tim said, you give people what you have. So if you didn't bring the culture, we probably forget about that. So thank you so much. You touched some great point. I love the pace. I love, the taking that deep breath and thinking and coming back and say, I couldn't have done it better, but I probably will be in the same shoes as you if I'm not prepared. I have to think about what I want to deliver from what I know, but good job overall.
And everyone, just keep in mind that no matter how good you may be, how developed you are, it's going to be rare that you walk away from a situation that you don't think to yourself, I could have done this a little better. And if you aren't thinking that you could have done it a little better, then I would be concerned at that point, because I still walk away from a lot of moments where I'm thinking, I could have said this, I could have said that way instead. Because we're constantly trying to improve. There's always an opportunity to refine what it is we're doing. So I'm glad that everyone so far has felt like they could have done it better, because you could have. There's always room for improvement. So thank you. Poppy, I saw your hand. You wanted to share some feedback. Welcome,
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Tim,
Yes,
Danica, and everyone in the space. Bless up. I tell you what, I'm enjoying everything while I'm doing house chores for a meeting I have coming up. But one thing I realized in any exercise, as important as this one, when you interject time or the pressure of the listeners and your peers, it's very important for us to relax. I want to go back to Grace before I'm remiss with that. Grace, you were fantastic with how you presented today. I was so elated. And I heard Phantom just now, as well as Nino. The pressure was on, right? So that's when we relax. This is when we breathe. This is when, like Tim said, take a minute, a millisecond to think about the next word or two. And that's what I pick up. Otherwise than that, when you're doing impromptus and the pressure is on, the heat is on, right? I like when I go into spaces and people talk about IQ, but there's actually no pressure there. They had 2, 3, 4 minutes. But the pressure here was you got 1 minute and that chimer is a terrorist. No, just kidding. I love it, Tim. So best be relaxed and remember to breathe and have some fun. That's another thing. Have some fun. Thank you, Tim.
Absolutely. And as he said, the pressure, but that's part of the reason we do this, is so that you understand how to manage that pressure and to not be overwhelmed by the pressure of the moment. And doing this when you know that there are however many people watching and listening to you do this, there is pressure, as Poppy said, but you're learning how to deal with it. And that's the most important part. We're learning to manage the fear, the anxiety, the discomfort, and just slow down, take a breath, take a pause, And you also get to understand that the silence is okay. You don't have to be afraid of the moments of silence because the silence is your friend. Remember, the 4 P's are pitch, pace, power, and pause. And when you pause, pauses create silence. And that silence can be strategic. The strategic pauses that you have, where people have a moment to think, they get to process what you've already said. So while you're thinking, they're processing. And then you can continue moving forward with the next thought. So it's okay. So I agree with Poppy as well. So it was good pace with what you did. Go ahead, Phantom. I saw your hand go up.
Yeah, Tim. And one of the things, that Papi reminded was the first chime, right? Like, it's that moment where the pilot is like close to the airport and you gotta land it. And the next 15 seconds are critical because you have to end what you're telling, but you also have to finish the point that you're still trying to go on about. So it's kind of like this, you're in a blind spot and suddenly the first time comes in and you're like coming out of the fog and you see the airport is right ahead and you got to land it. So I think it's important to relax. So I think this is a wonderful exercise and I will continue to keep coming back to doing these challenges because that is what this community and this space is about.
Absolutely. And you know what? This is another thought for everyone to keep in mind. Even though you have 60 seconds, it doesn't mean you have to use 60 seconds. Don't force yourself to speak for the entire time during this challenge or in any environment if you don't have that much information to share. Because remember, you want to provide the response that you have, the information that you have, not the response you think they want from you. And I have a tendency, I know you all may not think so, but in a lot of environments, I tend to be more succinct. If someone asks something to be written up, they want notes, they want explanation about things, mine tends to be much shorter than most people in my environments because I don't always have that much to say. Now, when I'm teaching this type of environment, things they flow a lot more in this type of environment. So I know you may not think, okay, well, he doesn't have much to say. I'm shocked and don't really believe it. But don't feel like you need to use all the time. Use it if you need it, but don't if you don't. Because at the end of the day, you want it to be as impactful as possible. Because if you only needed 30 seconds to make a great point, and then you add another 30 seconds of fluff, people will probably get confused and then they get distracted from the most important point that you were really trying to make. So use the time that you need, no more, no less. So thank you, Phantom. So let's go now over to Amber. Amber, how are you? Welcome to the space.
Thank you, thank you. Can I say?
Well,
I just
hold on
have little to say.
one second,
Uh,
Andrew Kane. 1 second. It's
I'm
Amber's
from
turn.
Estonia. Do you know Estonia? I'm from Estonia. I have little to say.
Andrew Kane. All right, so I'm willing to leave you up on the stage, but I need you to hold on for a second because it's Amber. So we're going to go to Amber now, and then we have you on the list
Do
to be
you
able
know
to speak.
Estonia? Let's speak.
Okay.
Okay.
Amber, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well, very well. So are you?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you well, very well. So I tell you what. So Amber, are you ready to do the challenge?
Yes, I am.
All right. Amber, so your random topic is going to be upgrade. Upgrade. Yes.
Okay. Mm. This universe is chaotic and it is asking us to upgrade into learning how to love ourselves more completely and more efficiently and learning how to become who we were and we're encouraging us to become a part of the universe that understands who it is and how it fits into reality. And as we upgrade ourselves and become closer to that empty space, we become closer to God.
All right, all right, all right. I see hands going up right away. Amber, before we go to Donika for her feedback and Najban, I want to hear from you how you feel about that. How did you feel and how do you feel it went?
I like the message that I gave. I'm not sure that if the word actually fit, like if I was forcing it into something that I've been thinking about a lot, if it actually flowed. I know I paused a lot. I'm not sure that it was effective pausing.
Were they intentional?
They were. I'm trying to figure out how to turn what I am saying into something that like is language.
Got it. Okay. 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 Fair enough. Fair enough. And I did notice the pauses that you did. And well, I'm going to wait. So I know Donika wants to share some feedback and Najban wants to share feedback. So Donika, go ahead.
You can go ahead if you want, but I just like to give a 30-second. I love how she started in the beginning. Very calm. I wish her voice was a little bit louder. I couldn't hear, so I have to put the phone on my ears. But the message was really beautiful because she said, upgrade is I'm upgrading who I am, upgrading ourselves as a part of the universe and coming here for better connection. So I think her message behind is like how to connect better and bring the best version of ourselves to the community because we are one part. I love the message. I wish you had the volume was a little bit louder, but you breath, you took the time and you deliver very good.
Any thoughts, Amber?
I have been having an issue with this headset, and that was why I asked. But it's good to know that it's still having faultiness.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for that, Donika. So I see Najban, you wanted to give some feedback for Amber. Go ahead.
Thank you, Tim. I think Donika already covered. I just loved her mind. The analogy she used was outstanding. I'm sorry, I'm addressing indirectly Amber. The analogy you use for upgrade indeed speaks a lot about your mind. It's a soulful place, and that was fabulous. Thank you, Donika. I think rest Donika covered. Thank you.
Yes. And what else? I'll tell you, Najban, and this for everyone else. Even if someone shares a similar thought, always know that your perspective is going to be a little different. And Donika could have said what she said, and sometimes it's a few minutes prior to when we share what we're going to share. There may be someone new in the room that didn't hear the initial thought. And the way you present it, they may connect with it and understand it a little better. So everyone, don't be afraid or hesitant to share your thought if it's similar to something someone else says, because you're going to have a different perspective, you're going to have a different approach, and you may reach someone a little differently that may not have even heard what you thought you were repeating. So something to keep in mind. Is there anyone else that wants to give feedback for Amber? Hakeem, you want to give feedback or you just
Absolutely.
Okay, go ahead.
Absolutely, I do. I also had a question, but I also Amber, that was wonderful.
Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely. And so I would say I love what everyone has said as far as feedback so far. I agree with. Your pace was great, and the theme that you used, it really led itself or lent itself to the types of pauses that you had, taking people on a spiritual journey where it should be peaceful. It should feel calming. And those pauses that you brought into it, it easily put people on the edge of their seat to try to figure out, okay, where's she going next? Or as they're just feeling it, what you're saying, taking them on that journey as you're carrying them through space or through the clouds to really experience and connect to what it was that you were saying. And what I would say also, even that word upgrade, sometimes the audience, and you'll realize how different people from different backgrounds will relate to it a little differently. Because upgrade is a term that anyone in the tech world would totally understand. They would totally get that and connect to it a little differently than other people would. But you brought together two different environments, two different thought processes to be able to see how upgrading is valuable in different environments and in different ways. So great job, Amber. Great job. And kudos to everyone.
Thank you so much.
Yes, absolutely. And kudos to all of you for doing the challenge so far. Everyone that has volunteered to do this and those of you that are waiting to do it. I appreciate that. And it excites me to know that people are ready and willing to do the work so that we can get better. And keep in mind that in certain environments and at certain points of time, we have to do things a little differently. So we're doing the challenges today. And this isn't the same as when we're discussing a topic where people come up and just share perspectives about specific topics. But there's a time for that. And then there's a time for us to be intentional where we focus on the skills lab. I need to write that down so I don't forget. So we're doing the skills lab today. I'm writing that now. Skills lab. And this puts us in that intentional behavior as well, but being able to shift and utilize the different aspects of learning that's going to help us grow more holistically, more comprehensively, and not just one approach or one way of doing things. And I want to remind everyone, those of you that have joined that community here on X, I'm going to start posting more. It's like questionnaires or little quizzes that you can do that's going to reinforce the things that we discuss. And it's going to give you some perspectives about yourself that you can think about and ponder to figure out where there may be some opportunities of growth for you as well. There may be some things you discover when you do some of those quizzes about yourself that you haven't actually thought about. So I'm just throwing that out there. So before we go, I'm going to play this really quickly before we go to the next hand. We're going to come to you next, Brenda. Greetings to everyone here in today's Confident Speaking Space. Your presence is greatly appreciated and we would love to hear from you. Our goal is progress, not perfection. So please don't be afraid to request a mic. You're invited to share your thoughts as a speaker or in the chat. We're all growing together and we're here to help you become a more confident and effective communicator in every aspect of your life. If you're enjoying the conversation and want to stay connected, you can join our free community on X for updates about future spaces. But don't forget to visit our website at confidentspeaking.us for additional resources and to continue your journey. Enjoy the rest of the show. All right. Brenda, I see your hand. You want to get some feedback?
No, sir. Excuse me. I don't know why I got to do that every time I open the mic, but thank you, sir. I want to say to the room, thank you so much for all your cooperation. You're keeping me off the hot seat, and I love that. So keep coming up and keep sharing and, keep participating. And I want to throw out, too, sometimes people might not be able to read the video or like if you have one phone, then it might be kind of hard to look at the video, and come back to the space. But I thought I'd throw that out there, but let's keep going.
Absolutely. And thank you for that note, because there are technical logistics we have to keep in mind. And I tried to post it soon or early in the space so that for those that joined earlier would be able to see it. And if for some reason it kicks you out, you can always come back. Just a note, though, because I know sometimes it can get tricky with technology and how the platform behaves at different times. Depending on the device you're using, the model of the device. So many things that happen with this, but we keep moving. We figure out what the next best option is, and we keep going forward. So thank you for that, Brenda. So let's go now over to, we've got Nitesh. Well, Nitesh had to leave. So we'll go now over to AI. And before AI shares or does the challenge, I want to invite you that if in the link, there's in the bubble, there's a link to the website, confidentspeaking.us, and there's a practice exercises page. And I want to open it up for some of you if you want to do the scripts, if you want to read the scripts. And reading the scripts give you an opportunity to really practice the 4 Ps, because you have something that's pre-written and you can navigate the punctuation. And I know that there's punctuation already in those scripts on the page. Once you scroll down, maybe a third of the way down or halfway down, you'll see those scripts. And you can play with that. You don't have to use the exact punctuation that's there. You can be creative and give it the feel that you want it to have if you decide to do the script reading. That's practicing the 4 Ps as well. So let's go now to AI. AI, how are you, sir? Great to see you.
Hello, everyone. Mr. Tim, it is good to be back here. Happy New Year to everyone and to my fellow brothers from Africa showing up in this community. Yeah, I love to see everyone here, especially people in Nigeria. It shows that you guys are trying to do something bigger than yourself. You're trying to learn more. Most of us jump on this space from randomly searching for opportunity to learn more or to speak, and somehow we were able to land ourselves here, and it's been awesome. I was telling Mr. Tim and every other person, Donika, Shari, how this was improving my life at a fast pace. And yes, everything I imagined came to me. Everything I manifested came. But I know I couldn't sustain myself for long because I'm disconnected from my source. So I know I needed to be back here to practice more, to get into more challenges, and to evolve again to a new level. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, AI. And great to have you back. And I know that life happens. We have circumstances, priorities, and obligations, and you can't always make it. And I just remind everyone, and AI, he didn't say sorry for not being here, but there are times people will apologize when they don't show up to the space. And you don't have to apologize for that, because this is my responsibility to be here, not yours. You don't have to show up, because I know life happens. You have things going on, but I definitely appreciate it when you are able to come, because I am absolutely thrilled to be around people who are trying to grow, who are trying to get better. Because I will tell you, I don't have a lot of patience for people who aren't trying. I need people to be trying. I'm willing to help you. I'll help you as much as I can, but I need to see that you're actually trying and that you're doing something on your own and not waiting on me or someone else to spoon feed you. That just does not work well for me. And before you know it, the spoon is gone, because I need you to understand how to feed yourself. And that's what I try to do is equip people to do it for themselves. So thank you all. And again, just for continuing to show up, continuing to engage, and continuing to do the work. And the work goes beyond the space. It isn't just in here. You should be doing the work. We have to do the work everywhere we go. As I say often, I'm still growing. I'm still practicing. I'm doing things to try to figure out how to get better and improve. And I'll tell you, because I mentioned 2 weeks ago with that opening intro and greeting for the new people that have recently joined the space. I was trying to figure out how to transition that a little easier, a little more smoothly. And I feel like I did a much better job with that today when the space first opened. So I'm sharing this so that everyone knows that I still think through the things that I'm doing to figure out how to improve. It isn't just about speaking. It's all the details that lead up to what we see and what we experience as individuals, as employees, as people in relationships with someone that we love and care about. The details matter, and people are paying attention to that, whether you realize it or not. And just a quick reminder to everyone, you only get one chance to make a first impression. So make sure you create the impression you want to be remembered for. And people will forget what you say. They may forget what you do, but they never forget how you make them feel. So make sure that we are taking great care to treat people the way they deserve to be treated. And sometimes the way that we are okay being treated may not be right or appropriate for someone else. So understand that. And as competent and effective communicators, that's a big part of what we're doing. We're trying to facilitate an engagement and an interaction with someone that when they walk away from us, they can have a smile on their face, or they can feel encouraged or feel empowered or feel more informed than they were when they left. They shouldn't feel insulted. They shouldn't feel embarrassed when they leave us. So keep those things in mind. But thank you all again. So we're going to go now over to, let's see, I think he's, okay, there he is. I Ain't Afraid. So I Ain't Afraid. Welcome to the space. So you want to do one of the script readings or the random topic?
Hey, give me one of the randoms, man. This is my first time here in your space.
All right.
Actually, I think I've been in your space one other time, but I didn't come up on speaker or anything. So yeah, I'm new to this. So yeah, let's go.
All right, let's do it then. So I'm going to give you the random topic, fear. Your random topic is fear.
Ooh, fear. I love this. This is, I really love talking about fear because I have a little bit of a different take on fear than a lot of people. For me, fear is when I am fearful of something, when I feel that welling of fearfulness, it's a sign to me. It's a sign that there's something that I need to run towards. I want to run towards my fear. I want to run through it. I want to run over it. I want to run. I want to move past it because I realize that if I'm fearful of something, that is something that's holding me back in life. If I run to that and overcome that fear, that is just a notch in my belt. The next time I encounter fear or uncertainty, hey, I dealt with that fear back there. I can deal with this one too. So really, fear to me is a valuable tool in my life to what I need to work on. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you for coming up and participating in what we're doing today and for doing the challenge. Let me ask you, so how do you feel about your response to the topic?
I think I got my point across like I wanted to, I hope. Something you said earlier is, it's hard to tell how someone will perceive what you say. You could say it could all click in your head, but it doesn't make any sense to somebody else. So that's always kind of it sounded good to me. Another, to me, I can have the greatest idea in the world in my head, and I got it all figured out. And as soon as I start verbalizing each word of that to someone else, one other person, I say to myself, oh my God, that's the stupidest thing I've heard of. It takes that verbalization, right? So I hope I came across.
Gotcha. Okay. So I see Donika wants to give some feedback and then Poppy. Go ahead, Donika.
Oh, I love that. I love the question, fear. And everybody for a moment, because we deal with fears every day, but for a moment you sat back, took a deep breath, and were thinking, like, what can I say from my own experience or a friend experience, and you deliver very well. And take that fear and do it anyway, or make the fear your friend, because fear or no fear, we have to do it. And the message is of being courageous, taking the fear, and because it's another emotion, and embracing and become friend with that fear. So I love the message. You are on time, and I love how you said, hey, this is the first time I'm talking, the second time being here. So you let us know to give you that grace. And you're like, in the end, you said, I did good, so you know why you came, you know what to deliver. We all can improve, but overall was good.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. Poppy, go ahead, sir.
I am telling you, Ain't Afraid. Ain't that the perfect name for this one for feedback? The first thing that came to mind is the acronym FEAR. False evidence appearing real. And you so eloquently said that you have the courage to run towards and conquer your fear. I couldn't hold myself back because another scripture came to mind where it says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and joy and a sound mind. Love, power, and a sound mind. So keep on conquering your fears, whatever it is, to come up here and speak. You guys are doing so well. Impromptu is a fearful area of exercise. So keep coming up and keep bringing it. But I love how you want to run towards that and overcome that fear and conquering it, because you are a conqueror. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. False evidence appearing real. And everyone keep this in mind. There's fear, and then there's danger. So when I Ain't Afraid said he runs toward the fear, that's great. So we learn to recognize the difference between fear and danger. You don't necessarily run to danger unless you're a trained professional and that's your job. But when it's danger, you stay away. But when you know that it's simply fear, you figure out how to manage it, because the fear is an internal response that your body is having. And we can't allow fear to dictate what we do. We should not allow fear to cause us to miss out on opportunities that could potentially change your life and generations behind you. This also is one of the reasons we do this, because I don't want anyone in here to ever miss an opportunity because you're too afraid to speak up. You're simply afraid. You allow fear to cause you to potentially miss an opportunity that could change your life and the life of your family for generations, or potentially literally save someone's life. So don't allow fear to control you. Brenda.
Can I more quick thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. I came from the AA rooms. I'm coming up on 14 years sober, and like the first 6 years, dude, I immersed myself in AA. And one of the things I remember from there for forever: never be afraid to tell your story, because you never know who needs to hear exactly what you have to say the way you say it.
Absolutely. One of the things that I like to remind people, especially when someone shares a struggle, is that when we have the ability to overcome and share the pain of our past, it can become the power for someone else's present. So absolutely, I Ain't Afraid. Thank you for sharing that and adding that. Brenda, go ahead. And then we'll go to Najban.
Okay, I'm going to do your name justice. I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost is his name. No, I Ain't Afraid of No Ghost. Ghost. Okay, yeah. So anyways, I thought you did awesome. And you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of, you're walking down the street and you see this game and you want to stop and play this game. And you just go and you play it and bam, you're done. You did a great job, I think.
Thank you very much. Like I said, it couldn't have been more perfect. That word, you knocked it out of the park on the word for me, because I love it.
Yes. And I agree. It was great. And you could tell that it was something near and dear to you. And I will admit, in your name, I used that because of what your name says. And you'll be amazed at how sometimes things that are familiar to us, we may not have necessarily thought about it in a way that we can express how we feel about it to other people. So that's something to think about. And that's why I did that. And I knew it was your first time as well speaking in the space. But let's go now over to Najban. Najban, are you ready?
Thank you, Tim. Yes. Is it okay if I correct you? The last syllable is bun,
Boom.
not bun.
Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you. I appreciate that. I ask that if I mispronounce anyone's name in here ever, please let me know, because I want to pronounce it the right way, the way it was intended. And I know sometimes people will say it's okay if you say it that way. I personally want to say it the way that you say it. Najabun. Is and
Nudge.
nudge.
No, the first one is no, Najbun. Small O.
Najbun. Naj.
Yes.
Okay. Najbun.
Thank you, Tim. That's so sweet of you. Yes. I was for a second thinking that I am afraid is going to take me to, to my thoughts. I was so synced with your thoughts, dear. I thought now finally you're going to say fear is the absence of faith. Because I was just connecting your words, through theological and spiritual perspective. So the content was fabulous. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. And did you want to do the challenge?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
I am very much in to take some feedback.
Okay. All right. There we go. So
I just have a question. Sorry.
yes, that's right. You did have a question.
While he did his competition, there were 2 beeps. So I didn't understand, when did the time start?
So the first beep means that you have 15 seconds left, and the second beep means that the time is up.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
And when I start speaking, my time starts.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. So what I will do for you, Najbun, your random topic is going to be home. 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 Home.
Home. Such a beautiful topic. Give me a second to think what it means to me. Home to me means multiple things. It has such a journey for me, is because I am born and brought up in a very emotional, bonding family. Then I left for a reason. Then for a decade, I was craving for a home. And after this entire journey and this whole time that I spent in understanding home, I understood it's just where I am right now is home. I have peace in my heart. I have my creator with me, and the people I am around with, they are my family. My roommates are my home. So I don't miss home anymore. I just feel where I am is home. I'm sorry, I thought the time is up.
No, there's 2 chimes. Yeah, there's 2 chimes. However, I thought that was a great place to end, though. It was you closed it out very well with that by saying that my friends and my family are home for you. So this is a great example where you don't have to use all the time that's available if you don't need it. If you understand where you can close and you made your point, it's okay. End right there, and people will get it. Just like the word no is actually a complete sentence at the same time. Sometimes all you need to say is no, and that's it. No period or no exclamation point, and that's it. You don't have to add any fluff that gets confusing for people. So, Najbun, how do you feel about it? What's your thoughts about your response?
The first very humble thought that yes, I could have done better. But I'm generally very satisfied person. I think I did best what was in my capacity in that moment. Alhamdulillah. And that's it. I really love your feedback. The previous one also I enjoyed. When normally I enter a space, host and co-host would make it a point that, if it's already covered, don't repeat it, And I saw a reverse trend in your space, Tim, and I would say I admire you for that. because I do agree that different word touches different heart differently, and that and if someone is there to speak, you let them speak what they want to. And I love that about you. And I'm already in awe with you. Thank you. Both your feedbacks were productive.
Yes, thank you for that. And this, to your point, it's important that we understand what we're trying to accomplish and what we're doing. What's the goal for what it is we're doing? And if we understand that and we're committed to it, what other people do won't distract us. And I know that in some spaces that's the case. Now, what I will tell you is that can be problematic in an environment where someone, let's say we spent 20 minutes talking about something and there were 5 points given, and then someone comes in 30 minutes later, the conversation is almost over, and they come in and they are essentially reteaching what has already been taught. That's when it's different. But when you're sharing from a personal perspective, personal experience as to how you were affected by it, not as though you're trying to tell people how they should live their life or how they should be making decisions, it does come across differently that way. And I know you were sharing from personal perspective. And that's why I wanted you to understand, and everyone to understand, that giving personal perspective is different from from presenting yourself and your ideas as though you're the expert. There's a difference in the way people perceive it and the way they receive it. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So, Donika, I saw your hand, and then Poppy.
Oh, I absolutely love that, Nashbon. But Tim, smart question. Home. What is home for you? And we can see that a lot of people, they don't have the same relationship with home. But what Nashbon said, she took us on a journey returning home where you belong. So she found where she belongs. She said it's multiple things, but she showed the bond that we create with the family, the journey of finding her true home. And in the end, she said, I'm satisfied. It resonates with me personally because I left my homeland and I'm in US when I build the home with my daughter, my family, my friends, God, and it's the home where I belong. You always can create the home, but first, what home is for you? Smart question, beautiful answer. I love it.
Yes. And Luther Vandross said, a house is not a home. A house is just a house. You have to make it a home, and you can make home wherever you are. I totally agree, Donika. Poppy, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Donika.
Amazing. Nashbon, that was fantastic. If I can grade you, I give you 100 on that. One of the things that really resonated with me with what you said is that you felt content in your heart, knowing who you are and whose you are in your spiritual walk, right? And then extending that out to the neighbors around you, your friends around you, feeling content in your environment. There is an apostle, spoke 5 languages and wrote most of the gospel. He said, I've learned how to abase myself, and I've learned how to abound. And whatever state that I find myself in, I'm content. That's Paul, the great apostle. That was fabulous, Nashbon.
Thank you, Bobby. Thank you.
And I want to point this out again, how everyone hears something different. She made one statement. She shared a thought over the course of that 45 seconds. And something different resonated for Donika versus what resonated for Poppy. And this is what we deal with when you're speaking and communicating with people, whether there's one person or a group of people. And this is something that we have to make sure that we understand and that we learn to get comfortable with, because they may not hear it exactly the way you said it or exactly the way that you meant it. And we have to be comfortable enough to be able to say, hey, especially if there's a misunderstanding, to be able to say, yes, no, this is what I meant. And depending on the environment, I may ask, did that make sense? Is that clear? And when you can see people's faces, you have the ability to provide clarification. And if I'm speaking and I see a look on someone's face as though something I said didn't make sense, I'll ask them. I don't ask the broad general question is, do you have a question? I ask, what can I clarify for you? What do you have? What is it that you didn't quite understand? So that they know that I know that they're confused about something versus that general question. Anyone have any questions? Because no one wants to be the one to say that they have the question in a lot of cases. But the different perspectives, the different things that people will hear when you're speaking and when you're sharing, and that's based on their personal life experiences, that's going to shape the way they listen. And for me, I captured, the warmth of what you shared, Najboon, the connection and the peace that you have in who you are, and that you understand the importance and the value of allowing home and love to be what it is that creates a home for you. And you can have a home in a number of different places, because it isn't about the place or the building, it's about the people that you're surrounded by that allow you to feel like you're at home. And it was great. It was great. The pace, the pitch, and there was connection to what you shared. So it felt like a journey that you took us on. It's like strolling down the street through a community or through a village where everyone is smiling and waving at one another and everyone knows one another. That's what it felt like for me as I listened to what you shared. So great job with that.
Thank you, Tim. Your words mean a lot. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Very welcome. So let's go now. Oh, and let me see. Hold on one second. Let's see. Afwan. Yes. Afwan Yanushbun. So, and I told her she's welcome. So let's go now over to, I see Nitesh has made it back. No, sorry. Yeah, Nitesh made it back, and then we'll go to Pablo. Nitesh, you ready to do a challenge?
Yes, I need silence. Thank you for bring up me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming up and being willing to do the challenge and put yourself on the spot, because we are expanding our comfort zones and we're getting comfortable being uncomfortable. So, Nitesh, are you ready for the challenge?
Yes, I'm ready. So this is my first time. So I feel scared, and but I will try to give my best. So I'm ready for challenges.
There we go. That's all we can ask. All we can ask is your best. And I'm glad that you feel nervous now, because that means you're going to learn and understand how to manage the nervousness in the future. The more you do this, the easier it becomes. Just like anything else, it gets easier and easier over time. And we're going to get you back up here as well, Hakeem, because I know you had a question earlier. So, Nitesh, your random topic is computers.
Computers. So computers. Yeah. So thank you so much. I appreciate about this challenges word. I honestly, I love this word computer. So my career is starting computer, and I am my passion is coding and coding programming in Java language C. So I love it. I love computer, and uh, I have one laptop. So I'm every time I'm I'm learning. I I learn new things, new technology, new challenges. Work. I I achieve so many new challenges. Work. So if you want to build some new idea, if you want to make some new things, new things, so computer is most important part. And so many all technology like uh, like Facebook and all applications, social media application, mm, mm, uh, mm, make by computer. So computer is a very important role in technology field. We can uh, we can make document, and we can make AI robot. Everything we can make by computer. So computer is a very important now generation. I love computer. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so
Excellent.
much.
You are very welcome, Nitesh. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So what I want to
Thank
do is
you. Glad to hear you. Glad to hear you.
thank you for doing that and crushing the fear in that moment. You see how you did that? It's even though you were nervous, you did it anyway. And I know it was uncomfortable for you, but you did it anyway. So always remember that. If you can't think back to anything else where you confronted the fear, today is one of those moments. And go back and listen to it and remind yourself that you can do it, that you can, that there's a difference between fear and danger. So don't allow fear to cause you or us, any of us, not to take advantage of an opportunity that could potentially change our life or potentially save someone's life. So Nitesh, thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyone want to
Thank
give?
you.
Yes.
I'm so yeah.
Go.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy after finish my conversation. I'm happy. I'm not scared. I'm not feel scared. I'm not fearing. I'm happy. I'm happy on myself. I did conversation with you. So thank you so much. I next time I will give my best, confidently speaking.
Absolutely. Thank you. You know what? You had to have that one, Nitesh. So I want you to know as well, Nitesh, that sometimes the things we do may not always seem significant to us, but I can promise you, Nitesh, that you coming up here doing what you just did, even though you were afraid, you have inspired at least 2 people in this space to be willing to take a chance themselves. Even if they don't come up and speak in the space today, there's going to come a time that they're going to remember what you just did, and they're going to take courage, and they're going to be willing to do something different that they were afraid to do before. So thank you for that. So I see Poppy wants to give some feedback. Go ahead, Poppy.
Absolutely, absolutely, Nitesh. I've followed you I've watched you in a few spaces, and your improvement is just impeccable. I noticed Tim was very lenient with you, and the reason why I'm pointing that out is to give you the opportunity as someone that's actively learning English, because I remember from whence you weren't speaking so well. So he gave you the latitude to be able to get some more time and took the pressure off, which shows the level of love, understanding, and compassion that he has in helping to develop the confidence in the individual speakers. So thank you, Tim, for allowing him that, and you did a fantastic job, Nitesh. Keep it up.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that, Poppy. And I'm glad that you recognize it and see that. And that's about us, as I talked about us being leaders before. There are times we have to be attentive to what's going on around us, and we have guidelines in place, but there are times where we have to have flexibility and to understand when we might need to do something a little bit different, a little differently, depending on the circumstance. And that's not just the emotional intelligence, but situational awareness. We have to have that situational awareness and be attentive to the individuals that we're dealing with in any given moment, because everyone needs something a little differently. And for those of you who feel like you want to be a leader, I want you to count the cost up front before you put yourself in a position where you're expected to lead people well. There's a commitment and a requirement, if you're going to be an effective leader, that you take the time to get to know all the people who are following you, because everyone can't be led the same way. Even though there's a standard in place, there have to be some adjustments, but it requires understanding of the individuals as people, not as followers and doers, if you're going to be an effective leader of people. And that's part of the sacrifice. That's part of the commitment that leaders make. But here's the other side of it. As you're following, I encourage you as a follower to encourage your leader from time to time. Thank your leader for doing a great job. See if your leader needs some assistance with something, so that they know some of the people that they're leading have some level of concern about their well-being as well. Because they say it's lonely at the top. And when you're the leader, there's only so much that you can say. You can't go whining and crying to your team as the leader. But when you have a team and there are people on the team that will come to you and say, hey, I've got your back. Is there anything I can do for you? I finished this. What I had to do, is there something I can take off your plate to make things a little easier for you today? Go show some support to your leader the way that they support you when they're doing what they're supposed to do as a leader. So thank you again, Poppy. And I know it was a public service announcement. I won't call it a tangent, because it was very relevant to what we're doing here overall. So something to keep in mind as we're leading and as we're following, because you don't have to be in charge to be the leader either. You can lead from the back, just like you can lead from the front, but you have to understand what it takes to do it from both sides. And that makes you that much more impactful as an individual in people's lives. Brenda, go ahead. I see your hand up.
Okay, was Natash, is it Natash, the last speaker before Poppy?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's wonderful that Poppy, in this cross-pollinating situation, Mama B's word, the cross-pollination that she uses during this time, I think it's wonderful. We did not know, but Poppy knew that Natish has improved, and I think it's beautiful. So wonderful. I'm glad you were here to see it, Poppy. Good job, Natish.
Absolutely. And see, and that's another demonstration and a reminder for us to recognize that people see us. You may not always notice people, but people see you. And whether they want to or not, they're watching. And you go from place to place, space to space, whether it's digital or in your physical environments, people are watching. And you never know what it is they may be perceiving about you. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you leave the impression that you want to be remembered for, because someone sees everything you do, even when you don't know they're looking. So be careful and be the person that you want to be known for. You get to choose that. You get to decide the narrative. And if you are creating a narrative that's respectful, that's empowering, that's encouraging, if someone chooses to say something otherwise about you, that isn't your concern, because you have established a reputation. You have established a level of credibility in people's minds that if someone did say something negative to you or about you, even if you did it, the people who have seen your integrity for an extended period of time, they will probably not believe it, even if you did it. And I'm not saying that you should use that and abuse people's trust and confidence in you, but I'm just telling you the power and the impact of walking with integrity and consistency of who you are as a person and demonstrating the type of character that people appreciate and they want to be around, because those things happen. They happen. So thank you, Nitesh. And I commend you. Well, let me see. I guess Grace was going to give feedback. Brenda. So go Brenda, then Grace, feedback for Nitesh. And then we'll go to Pablo.
No feedback from me, sir. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. That's okay. Grace, did you want to give feedback to Nitesh?
She's having connection
Okay,
problems.
okay. I was making, because I saw an emoji and I was trying to make sure it wasn't just me. Okay. So what we'll do then is, Nitesh, I will just say to you again, kudos, congratulations, and keep doing what you're doing, sir, because you are doing phenomenally. So let's go now over. We're going to go to Pablo, then Hakeem and Timothy, and then Ingrid. Pablo, welcome to the space, sir. How are you today?
Thank you, Tim, Dominique, Brenda, Papi. Thanks for the space. Hello, everybody from Mexico City. Listening, Tim, it's amazing all this, and well, I'm ready if I can do the challenge.
You absolutely can, Pablo. And there is no way I would not let you do this challenge when you were willing to come up here and put yourself in an uncomfortable position so that you can get comfortable being uncomfortable. Let me ask you something, Pablo. What, if you don't mind me asking, what do you do? Well, let's see here. Activista Social. So I just looked at your profile. I didn't open it all the way. What do you do for a living, Pablo? What type of work do you do? Your profession?
Yes, well, I'm study. I'm a attorney, but I make. I'm a social fighter. I try to fight for human rights here in Mexico, and well, that's my activity now here in Mexico City.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. So social activist is what that's okay. Got it. All right, Pablo. So your random topic is going to be safety.
Well, I think that safety is one of the most important things for all of us. It's about that we can be here, we can speak here, we can try to think about all this, all the things happens in the world, and I think that here in my country, it's something very important. We need to be safety. We are having difficult times here, and well, that's I think that it's important for know that for activities for all things here in the country, we need to be and have safety. I don't know if I answered you well, Tim.
You absolutely did, and you answered me based on what you felt. So that's the way it needed to be answered. So and I know, if you're as an attorney, you focus on the facts, the things that are actually there to give. So I know the idea of don't try to respond based on what people want to hear. You respond based on what you have to offer. So I would imagine that resonates with you. So you did very well with that. Let me ask you, how do you feel about it? What's your thoughts about your response?
Well, first I have to tell you something, Tim. I see your space, the title, and then I go to your TL, and I saw the Purple Squirrel, and it's remember the movie Purple Rain, and when I hear the fear, when I hear now security, well, safety, and well, all the things that you are talking about, it's remember the movie Purple Rain, that when Prince think and fear that if he has to play his song, and he was with fear, and then they do it, and now I feel like that. I'm trying to practice more my English, and it's hard for me, but I'm here, and I feel that like in the movie, we have to do it, and well, at the end it's uh, as a new step, and that I feel, Tim.
Absolutely. And Pablo, you are doing excellent with your English. Just keep going, keep practicing. And whatever you do, don't compare your English where you are now to your ability to speak Spanish, because they aren't the same. Spanish, I'm guessing, is your native language. So just don't compare yourself. Keep practicing, keep doing the work, because communities like this, we're going to support you, and we want you to be able to share your thoughts and be comfortable speaking, whether it's, well, I guess in here it would need to be English so we could all understand, but just don't be afraid and keep doing that, because I'm trying to learn Arabic, and my wife actually, she hit me up with a pop quiz. She's like, say something to me in Arabic. She said, you've been doing this for I don't know how long now. And she said, say a sentence to me in Arabic. And it put me on the spot. So I'm sitting there thinking, okay, what can I say to her? And that wasn't the moment that I was ready for. But what I will tell you is, even though I'm not able to just communicate in Arabic, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, and I'm allowing myself to grow at my own pace. Because I could read something, I could read it to you. If there's a translator on the phone and they can't see a document, I could more than likely read it to them so that they know what is being said, even though I can't really speak it conversationally at this point. So I'm okay with my level of progress right now. And I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to keep growing. And that's what we're going to do, Pablo. We're going to get there. We're going to get where we're going. And we're going to keep doing the work that's necessary, because I am absolutely looking forward to having a conversation, even if it's a short one, with someone in Arabic, here in the next couple of years. And it may not take that long. It's just a matter of the level of commitment, because you obviously have put more effort. You've committed more time into your English than I have my Arabic. I don't have to speak Arabic. This is something that I choose to do because I've gotten a chance to meet so many great people on this platform that have embraced me the way that they did. So for me, in my mind, that's a great way to show my willingness to connect with them on an even deeper level, to be able to have a conversation in someone else's language. Because why does someone always have to speak English to communicate with me? So I'm trying to expand myself. I'm trying to be more available, trying to be more connected to people. And it's gestures like that go a long way to people. As simple as being willing to pronounce someone's name the correct way. That's important to me, because I know people's names are important. And when we're on a platform like this, thinking culturally that people are from different parts of the world, and in some parts of the world, a name means something to people in some areas. Here in the US, they don't necessarily carry the same weight that they may carry in Africa, or that they may carry in Asia when parents give their children's names. So it's important to me, because I know it's important to other people. And you'll be surprised. For those of you who don't take the time to pronounce people's names correctly, I would encourage you to get to a point where you begin to try to understand how to pronounce people's names. because it means something that you care enough to try to say it the way it was intended. So Pablo, again, thank you, sir, for coming up here and doing that. And I want to see, does anyone want to give some feedback to Pablo?
Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. Hey, Pablo. It let me mute. I realize I'm in a room where they have the TV on, so let me move out of here. Hi. I just wanted to say to Pablo, welcome. I know I followed you. I've been following you, so I've heard you before. And yo soy venezolana, so I welcome you doing your best. And the subject that you had to cover today was really great because you also brought a little history in and say what you basically stand for. So you not only showed us that you are willing to learn English to communicate, but also knowing but you reached out to me. So I will be reaching out to you more often, and together, yes, we can make a difference. Thank you.
Absolutely. The power of community, and we never know what the connections can become and how many lives could potentially be changed when two or more come together, touch, and agree. Things change, things happen. Donika, did I see your hand go up to give some feedback for Pablo?
Yes, you did.
Okay, go ahead.
Pablo, welcome to the space. Great share. And I want to tell you something. We have so many friends that don't even know how to speak English, but they start talking. And we have a dear friend from Mexico, Max Morales. He always come to the spaces where we are, and he practice all the time. So I am one that I didn't know how to speak English, but I practice and practice every day. And I knew that I was making mistake, but I was like, if I don't make mistake, if I don't practice, never will go where I need to be. So you did fantastic job. I understand everything I do. You said, and thank you for your service. Thanks you for coming here and sharing, because we never know who Pablo is if you didn't pick up that mic and spoke to us. So thank you for your service. Thank you for taking the challenge and sharing with us. Please come back, because we need people like you. Community grow when we have new members.
Absolutely, Donika. Thank you for sharing that. And I will say too, with Pablo, with what you shared and the way you shared it, it was awesome the way you shared it, because you did it in a language that wasn't native to you. So I could only imagine that if you were to do it in your native language, that you would be right on point, just the way that you wanted it to be. And I want everyone to keep this in mind as well, is it's easy for us to make assumptions about someone's skill level, about someone's understanding, about someone's level of comfort. But remember that we all have environments and circumstances that will make us uncomfortable. Even though we may shine in certain environments, we all have our, in the world of Superman, we all have our kryptonite that makes us a little bit uncomfortable, and we're hesitant to do what we have the ability to do. But these are opportunities and moments where you figure out how to not allow the fear to keep you from at least trying. Because yes, you can. You're wonderfully and beautifully made, and that you are more than capable of doing whatever it is that's put before you. And I want to make sure that all of you remember that you have in mind and understand that you can, that you are more than capable. And sometimes it requires growth. It requires some training. It requires some practice, but just don't be afraid to do the work. And when you learn to appreciate the process of getting better becomes so much easier, because you enjoy and embrace the process. Because that's where the hard part is getting your mind in a place that you're willing to do the work. That's the hardest part. It's the commitment to do the work. But when you do that, everything else just begins to happen. And you wake up one day and you realize that your life has changed, and you look back and can't even remember when it happened, because it's just a natural progression that takes place. When we focus on progress, and not perfection, when we get comfortable being uncomfortable, when we expand our comfort zone and we're willing to take the risks that are going to open doors for us to have the successes that we want to have in our lives. So Pablo, thank you again, sir. I really appreciate you coming up and doing that. And as Donika said, I hope you continue coming back and continue practicing and growing with us, because we're here growing together, all of us. From me across to everyone else in this space and community, we're all trying to grow together. So what we'll do, let's see, we have Timothy, Hakeem, and I see Amber's hand back up. Let me make sure I didn't miss one. And it's 106. So what we'll do is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go to Timothy, because Timothy hasn't spoken yet. And then I know Hakeem has a question that he wanted to ask earlier, and he had to step away for a moment. And then we'll get ready to wrap up after that. Timothy, yes, sir. How are you? Welcome to the space.
Good evening, team. Thanks for this opportunity. Thanks for giving me your platform to speak. I really appreciate this. I came in last week to your space, and in one of your closing remarks, you gave appreciation to not just the speakers, but to the listeners. And where I'm going to with this is that you really encouraged me there to come up today and speak, because I will really like to grow also, and I really would like to make progress in this journey of learning how to be a better speaker. So I don't know if I qualify for the challenge that is running today.
Yes, everyone qualifies. There's no qualification required. The only thing that's required is courage and willingness to do the challenge. Okay. That's all you need. And were you able to look at the video at the top to see how the challenge works?
I've had about 4 speakers already. I really haven't looked at the video, and I feel it's you asked them a question based on probably their profession or their way of life, and then they provide answers, and then we have assessment from you and from other speakers.
Okay.
And I find the process encouraging, and I would like to be a part of that.
All right. Well, let's do it. So I will give you a random topic. Your random topic is going to be security. Security.
Oh. Okay. Okay. It's important for one to... Thanks for this thing first. It's important for us in this, as we go about living our life, to make investments that will provide comfort for us in our old age. Investments, learning things that will become beneficial for us as we grow old. I think that is my own understanding of security. Thank you very much, team.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me ask you, Timothy, how do you feel about your response to that?
Maybe I fluffed a little, or maybe I didn't provide enough substance to your question, but I feel it's a good way for me to break that barrier of not coming up to spaces to speak, because most times I just listen, I don't talk.
Understood. Well, to your response, I will say to you as a reminder, don't worry about what you think I want to hear. You give what it means to you. You share what you have to give. Now, it would be different in an environment where if I went to listen to you speak and you gave me a document that says, this is what you can expect to hear from me. This is what I'm going to teach you. Then yes, I have an expectation at that point. But in an environment like this, where someone poses a question to you in a meeting, in a gathering, in a conversation, and it's unscripted, don't try to read my mind or read people's minds. Share what you have to offer and be comfortable with that. And if they need more understanding, if they want more information, you get to give it to them. And that means they've now invited you to share more with them. So, but I appreciate that you recognize that you made it colorful. You say you added some fluff to it, but you knew what you were doing. And that's important, that we understand where we may have areas of opportunity, how we could improve what it is that we did. So kudos to you on that. And I even love the approach, the direction from security. And I did pull from your background to say security, but you took it a completely different direction. It had nothing to do with computers. It was about lifelong security and stability as we get older. And there's a lot of people that don't think about security from that perspective, because when we're young, we have fun when we're young, and we don't think about the fact that those years go fast. And before we know it, we won't be able to run around and do the things that we once did. And we need to have a level and a measure of security to make sure we can still sustain ourselves in our old age and not have to depend on other people to do that. So great perspective. Thank you for sharing that. And I encourage you to keep practicing, Timothy. Keep doing it. Keep joining us and keep coming up and doing these challenges and sharing your thoughts, because we're going to get there. We're all going to get where we're trying to be. So thank you. Thank you. Poppy, go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to comment on the job well done by Timothy for his first time up. That was great. And yes, I was taken aback and about the angle that you took, as Tim said. People don't think about this kind of stuff, and we need to, because that body of ours, when we feel invincible in our young age, if we don't make preparation to take care of the long-term finances and well-being, it can become a major problem. And it's evident in a lot of countries right now, like the elderly in Japan and in China, even here in the United States, as well as Canada. They're having to be put out in the street. Some of them, it's bad. And so, great point. I just believe that angle you took there. Fantastic job.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And see, even though we're doing challenges to become better speakers with this, it's doing a lot more. And there's information that people are gaining. We're teaching people when you speak during those 60 seconds, because your experiences are different from others. So people are hearing about, as Brenda said, my personal journey with orange juice in the beginning, or hearing about or being reminded of the importance of securing your future, because you won't always be able to lift bricks if that's what you do. Your eyes may not be as clear as they are now to be able to write code or whatever it is that you currently do. We've got to plan and prepare and provide that security for our future and our families if you're the one leading them. So we're going to go now to Hakeem. So you had a question for us, Hakeem.
I did, and thank you, Mama B, for answering in the purple pill. My question was, of the 4 Ps, what does power mean in speaking? What does the power mean?
So the power in the 4 Ps, it does a few things. Power has to do with your projection. It's the strength of your voice. And your power tends to be derived from your breathing. So your breathing is important. And one of the reasons you will hear people speaking fast is because they have run out of air. When someone isn't breathing properly and they begin to feel themselves run out of breath, they start speaking more fast. They start speaking more quickly because they're trying to get the thought out as if it isn't possible to take another breath. But when you take a breath and you breathe, you have the ability to project. You can create more volume without having to yell, because your lungs and your diaphragm have the capacity to push that air. And that's where it comes from. So if you ever listen to newscasters, you'll hear them take those quick, deep breaths in between their thoughts. And that's because they're trying to refill their lungs so that, and their diaphragm, so they have their lungs to be able to have the air to project the way that they do. They always have a rich, full sound when you listen to them. And even entertainers, singers, you hear them also take those breaths, but that's because they understand the importance of breathing. So that's what the power is in the P.
I also thank you so much. I also am inspired by those where English is not the first language, and I would like to take the challenge. I've never been a rapper, but back in the day, they used to call this the cipher. You would come with a word, and you would say something, a word, and just freestyle. So I think I'm up for the challenge, is what I'm saying.
Got you. So I tell you what.
And I respect all of that.
Yes. So let me see. So it's 1:17. So we close at 1:30. Now we can do. Okay, so we can do the challenge. We'll go ahead and do the challenge for you, Hakeem. And what I'll ask is, while you're doing the challenge, I can hear the wind blowing. So if you could turn your back to the wind so that it isn't blowing in your mic, I want to make sure that we're able to hear you. Or if you could step inside when you do your challenge. But are you ready?
Bear with me one moment.
Okay.
I'm sprinting into the house. I just have to take out the trash.
He sounds like he's out on one of those what do you call it, paragliders. Okay. So what we'll do?
I didn't know the mic was that good.
Yeah, no, they're good. So what I'll do, Hakeem, I'll go ahead and go to Ingrid, and then we'll come back to you as you get situated, because now I know you're out of breath, or you're going to be breathing a little erratically. So I'm going to give you a moment as we go to Ingrid, and then we'll come back to you.
Hello, Tim. Hello, everyone. Hello, Donika. Hello, Brenda. Happy Saturday, where you will always find us. So I was hoping that we could do the challenge, but I don't know if we have time for it. So since you let me know, but that's what I wanted to say, and to say thank you again, Tim, for a wonderful space. This space was speaking volumes once again, and every Saturday, whenever I get a chance to speak, we say the same thing because it's true. And I love the foundation that you have put here for us. And I've seen how even me, Ingrid, grew in this space and still growing and still learning. And for Pablo, listen, even coming here at 12 and being 67, I also sometimes say the wrong thing, say the wrong words. I hear it differently. I still sometimes have to think in Spanish before I say it in English. So there are a lot of things that we will pick up along the way. But just wanted to share that. But next time, I'll do the challenge. So we'll leave it at that so we could hear the other challenge. Thank you.
Absolutely. And we have you down, Ingrid. So just we'll make sure that you get to do the challenge next time. So Hakeem, are you in place? Had a chance for your heart rate to slow? Go ahead.
Listo. I'm ready.
Okay.
I just wanted to say, before I do, I know we have 10 minutes left. I just wanted to say quickly that we talked about honoring our mentors. I just wanted to give my condolences to Poppy, who I consider a spiritual mentor. He was going through his thing, and he was allowed himself to be vulnerable in a space. And I just want to say that I acknowledge and I listen. And Mikasa Sukasa, you're my brother, and you've helped me and you've prayed for me, and I want to return that to you. So with that said, I'm ready for the challenge.
All right. And condolences to you, Poppy. So according based on what Hakeem has just shared with us, so our hearts go out to you, sir. And it's just a message away if you feel like you need to share some thoughts to get some things off your chest. Sometimes just hearing ourselves speak can be very helpful for us. So I'm available, sir. So Hakeem, we will go ahead and go to you, and I think you will be the last one we do today, because typically,
Hey,
we're going to close out with you as the final challenge today, so that we can give everyone, the others, an opportunity to get the feedback, because I don't want to sell them short on the feedback. So Hakeem, for you, your random topic is going to be vocal, like vocal range, vocal. Hopefully
gosh.
I didn't lead you in a direction with that.
Oh, no, I promise I won't sing in this space. Vocal. Vocal. Can I have it in a sentence? No, I'm just kidding. Vocal to me means having the ability to project. Vocal means sometimes speaking when necessary. Vocal can also mean being impactful and being concise and being sharp. Vocal also, in metrics, in a scale of soprano and baritone, there are also ranges to vocal, but it is important to use your vocals. And I will land. Thank you for allowing me the time.
There we go. Well done. Well done. With time to spare, and very comfortable ending when you did. So kudos on that. So let me ask you, Hakeem, how do you feel about that? Your response?
I think I did pretty good considering I'm winded. I ran 100 meters just to get inside.
And I sensed that the approach that you took to give your response was because you were winded. You chose to use shorter sentences, almost in a poetic, like a poetic rhythm, a rhythmic response, so that you could manage your breath. Because if you tried to say much more, it would have been difficult, because you didn't have the breath to project the way that you really wanted to, in the way that I've heard you speak in other spaces when you hadn't did 100-yard dash. So yes, great job.
Shukran, and thank you for allowing me this space. I know you know what shukran means.
Afwan.
Thank you, Tim.
Afwan.
Bless you.
Poppy, I see your hand. You want to give some feedback to Hakeem?
Absolutely. Thanks, Hakeem, for bringing up that your condolences there to my late father. I did not grow up with my father; he's my biological, but I felt the weight of it. So I appreciate that very much. It's been 3 days, and I'm recovering very well. But one of the things that's so important about this space is that it speaks to the volume of life goes on in a way that even when you're going through the toughest times, the resilience, the preparedness, the balance, all of these things come into play. How you manage, how you still have the tenacity and the drive, the commitment, the loyalty, all in balance, right? And so I appreciate it very much that you shared that. I am managing to pull out after 3 days of praying and consulting and speaking and understanding. And so, very powerful what you did there in projecting by vocally letting it be heard. And so, that's might stand in what you did with letting your vocals be heard. And that's what it means to me. And you did an incredible job, even after running 100 yards. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that running and speaking after you run, or doing something that has your heart rate up, is difficult. And that's where the practice comes into play, to figure out how to settle your heart rate down and slow that down. And you see for yourself, it's like a great example of the impact it can have when your breath isn't where it needs to be. But yeah, thank you for that. And what I really like the way you gave several different perspectives of vocal in what you shared. Again, informational, where people they may not have thought about some of the things that you brought up, as to how vocal is applied in our life, the impact of being vocal in our lives. And this is why just sharing. And I want you all to get comfortable in your perspectives and your experiences and being willing to share them with other people because they're valuable. And you never know how impactful it may be for someone else's life. As they say, one man's junk is another man's treasure. But for some people, the things that are really simple to us, they could be life-changing to someone else. So I love the pace, and I feel like giving you, even doing it again, because I know you were out of breath, just so you see the difference and everyone gets to experience the difference when you actually are comfortable and relaxed when you're speaking. But kudos to you for the way you handle
ready.
it. Huh?
I'm ready.
Oh, no, not today. We're about to close now, but
Okay.
like in a future one, and we'll
I
try
like these skill sets.
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is how we get better. But as we go forward, I'm trying to do more of these so that people have the opportunity to do this, because we can share thoughts about topics, but I want to make sure we have the opportunity to do this. But what I'll do is make sure that you, Ingrid, Muhammad, and famous in my phone get to do a challenge. So you'll be the first ones that get to do it the next time. And if you're able to make it next week, we'll definitely give you that opportunity to do so. Unfortunately, it is about that time, and we need to go ahead and wrap up because it's 1:27 and 3 minutes left. So I want to thank all of you for being here. I really appreciate your presence. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the way that we show up for one another. It isn't just about me, because there's some environments where people will go simply because they want to see an individual. But I love the way you all come here and you show up for one another. We're supporting one another in what we're doing here. And this is what allows us to be better. It allows us to grow, and it allows us to know that we aren't alone. So I thank you all for that. And to all of you that are listening, I want to say thank you. To Jason, great to see all of you. Great to see you, Jason, Rose, Hero X, Sherry, Luan, Mama B, Lazolia, Nukes, Ozzy, Stephen, Kim, Corey, Bitcoin, Ubuntu, Fibonacci Man, Jude, Mike, Kimberly Ann, Joseph, Rebecca, George, Jiminanya. We've got Goody Gobbly Goo, Lady Bella, Gotti B, Brother Elkanah, Solo. We got Josh Wiz, All About Music, The Owls Watch, William, Siyaj, Mago Warel, Anna, Mawingu, Esan, and we also have, and this is letters. I don't know how, I'm not sure what to say with that one. We have a picture, QW. I'll just say QW. So thank you all for listening. However long you've been here, I appreciate your presence as well. I get to tell the speakers directly thank you when they come up to participate. But Edith, thank you as well. And everyone else that has been here, participated and listened in. I hope that all of you have every measure of peace that God can provide you, because I know right now this is a difficult time for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. And I hope and pray that your hearts find rest, peace, and comfort, and not allow any external circumstances take away your joy. Things may be challenging, but the sun is always shining, and we can always find a reason to smile and be joyful in those moments, because we can reflect on the goodness, because no matter how bad it may seem, things can always be worse. And I want you to remember that. They can always be worse. So try to find some solace in that as we continue growing together. And I really appreciate all of you. And with that, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the day. Thank you for joining today's episode of the Confident Speaking Space. Your contributions as a speaker and your presence listening live or on the replay are greatly appreciated. If you enjoyed the experience and want to show some love, feel free to visit the link on my profile and buy me a coffee. Until we meet again, I pray you have a fantastic week ahead. So be blessed, be safe, and be intentional about becoming a more confident and effective communicator. Let's get it. We gonna